Welcome to Biblical Greek. In fact, this is Greek 2, BLG 501 for the graduate level and BN 312 for the undergraduate level. Many of you guys were with me last year, fall 2020, for the 7-week semester. So you know the rhythm, you know my personality, you know what I'm looking for. But there we do have a couple of new people in the class, so for their benefit, I'm going to go over the syllabus, which is basically the same, other than the fact that you should have had Greek 1, hopefully with me. And so hope everybody had a great Christmas. Hope you had a wonderful New Year. I know the world is crazy and a lot of things are happening all around us in your personal life. I'm sure there's lots going on. But I hope that this class will be a kind of a relief to you. When you come into this class, you're learning, you're growing, you're achieving something. And I don't know if anything as great as learning to read New Testament Greek, the language in which the New Testament was written. So I hope this is going to be an exciting time for you guys. And so just very quickly, going over the syllabus, our mission of our university is that Carolina University is a Christ-centered university committed to educating aspiring leaders worldwide through exceptional training or teaching, scholarly research, creative innovation, and professional collaboration. So that is the overarching goal of this institution. Our course, Biblical Greek, or Greek 2 really, is a study of the grammar, vocabulary, and syntax of Koine Greek, which is the language of the New Testament. The purpose of this course is to prepare students to read the Greek New Testament. And I know it's kind of hard because in a 7-week period, it's hard to start reading the New Testament Greek, but that is the goal. As we come towards the close of this semester, I'm hoping you guys will be reading small portions of, say, the Gospel of John or 1 John, which typically is considered to be an easier Greek. The course will utilize, just like last semester, textbook study, which is Learn to Read New Testament Greek, 3rd edition by Dr. David Allen Black. Many of you know he was my professor, a very good friend, lives about maybe an hour from here, and we communicate, and he is on my podcast almost every couple of months, and he and I are working on a book project together. So Dr. Black is an amazing guy, amazing friend, wonderful mentor, and I really highly recommend this book. And again, keep in mind, it is a 3rd edition. Now, if you remember, last semester we ended with personal pronouns, which was chapter 9. My goal was really to go all the way to chapter 12. That way, it would be sort of a halfway point because there are altogether 26 chapters. But the 26th chapter is kind of reading your New Testament Greek, so it's really 25 chapters. But as hard as it was to kind of condense everything in the 7-week format, we could only get to chapter 9, which was personal pronouns. So if you have the book, go ahead and start in chapter 10 and start making your way through perfect and pluperfect, active, indicative, demonstrative pronouns, present, middle, and passive indicative, perfect, middle. There's a lot of heavy-duty stuff coming, but don't despair. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to learn. And again, I know how it is. Typical semester would have ended in December, right? Somewhere 2nd week in December. And then you get 2 weeks off in December, maybe 1 more week in January, and the new semester begins. But with this 7-week format, it's been since October that many of us even looked at this book or even thought about the class and the vocabulary lists and all of that. So the first week of this class, we're going to sort of review. And now don't misunderstand. a review does not mean I'm going to reteach everything. If we did that, pretty much the next 7 weeks will be focused on Greek 1 again. Cannot do that. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to review everything in detail till you can master it. This is something you're going to have to do on your own. But I will give the first week of the class to review those 9 lessons. My encouragement to you is go to the portal, our Carolina University portal for the class, and all the videos are embedded there. They're linked to YouTube as well. Watch them. I remember the videos, the tons of them there on the history of the Greek language, pronunciation, English grammar. I did like a couple of lessons on English grammar. And then present active indicative, future active indicative, imperfect, aorist. We spend a lot of time on these things. Watch them. Take the time over the weekend. And I know how it is. I'm ready for Tuesday. No, start watching them now. Start watching maybe 2. And then each day if you watch 2 or 3, by the time we have our class, you should be able to watch all those videos. So really, really, really encourage you to do that. Again, I'm sort of giving you guys 1 week of this review, and there will be quiz on the review, okay? So we cannot just have a class just to goof off. So there will be review, but there will be a quiz over the materials we covered in Greek 1, and hopefully that'll give you guys a chance to kind of get back in the rhythm, okay? And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. But just know I'm not going to reteach it because then it'll take up a lot of time. All right, so let's quickly keep moving. Our required resources, again, the Bauer, Danker, Gingrich, Ardent, Gingrich, in Greek English lexicon is the one that you should have. You can also have it as an electronic source through Logos or Accordance or Olive Tree. So electronic resources are fine too. I have them. I have them everywhere, as well as I have it right here. So this is that lexicon, okay? And so I have the hard copy as well as the electronic. You don't have to have both, so make sure you get at least one of them, okay? All right, moving along. NA 28, Novum Testamentum 28. Is it important to have that? Yes. So if you can, go ahead and invest in that, because when we get halfway through the second half or this semester, we will start diving into the Greek New Testament. I want to show you, I want to teach you guys how to read the Greek New Testament, how to understand the variants, how to, and you're not going to become an expert, but you should be able to understand what are those marks in the text? What are they indicating? How are the papyrus represented? How are the uncials and minuscules and lectionaries represented? How are the fathers, the readings in the fathers represented? So these are things I want to orient you regarding the New Testament in the Greek. So make sure you invest in that New Testament, Novum Testamentum Graece 28th edition. Again, going through the syllabus, recommended resources. A great one to have is Constantine Campbell's Advances in the Study of New Testament Greek. Okay, great book, especially now because in the second half we will cover verbal aspect, okay, which I think I've already covered in the last semester, and there's a video there for that as well. The Octation Sart, and the middle voice that's coming up. What is the middle voice? Sometimes people think middle voice is, kind of reflexive, but there's much more to the middle voice, and we'll talk about that as well. So Good book to have. Clayton Croy's A Primer of Biblical Greek. I didn't grow up on Clayton Croy, but a lot of my colleagues and fellow scholars used Clayton Croy's Biblical Greek, and they use it in their teachings. It's a good one to have. William Mounce's Basics of Biblical Greek. Stanley Porter, Jeffrey Reed, Matthew O'Donnell's Fundamentals of New Testament Greek. It's right here. It's a good one to have. Again, these are not required. These are only kind of recommended sources. If you ever get stumped, you can look through these and find another example to explain a part of speech. So, A.T. Robertson's A Grammar of the Greek New Testament in the Light of Historical Research, right here. It's a monumental work. There are some problems in there. Problems in the sense sometimes A.T. Robertson will deal with an example under a whole different category than what he has done elsewhere. So sometimes you go, wait, that verse and that particular word is under this and that syntax, but then you go here, same exact verse, exact word, under a different syntactical category. So there are little issues that you need to be aware of, but overall, it's a good one to have. What else do we have? Stephen Runge's Discourse Grammar of the Greek New Testament. In fact, it's in my office back at home. It's a great one to have, but again, keep in mind it's an advanced level work. So it's not for the faint of heart. In fact, I would recommend holding off on getting something like that until you are taking advanced biblical Greek or, second, third year biblical Greek. That's when Stephen Runge's book is very, very essential. Of course, Wallace's, Daniel Wallace's Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics. By the way, it's not William Wallace. It should be Daniel Wallace. William Wallace was, a Scottish freedom fighter. No, this is Daniel Wallace's Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics. It's a good resource to have. And it's not introductory grammar. It goes beyond that into intermediate and advanced biblical grammar. By the way, very quickly, what is the difference between introductory Greek, which is Greek 1, Greek 2, you're in Greek 2, and intermediate or advanced? Well, in Greek 1, Greek 2, or introductory Greek, you're basically learning the parts of speech. You're learning what is a present active indicative or future active indicative or imperfect or perfect and pluperfect and aorist and participles and infinitives. You're learning these categories. In intermediate Greek, second year Greek, you focus more on the use of that phrase or that clause. What is the force? Okay? Is it instrumental? Is it, is it directive? So, how are the verbs used, and how are the nouns and adjectives and participles being used, or participial phrases being used? So that's what intermediate Greek is about. How about advanced Greek? Advanced Greek gets deep, and that's where you get into my field, which is New Testament textual criticism, where you begin to compare variant readings. And, we have so many manuscripts, over 5,000 Greek manuscripts. And keep in mind, not all the manuscripts have all of the text of the New Testament, okay? Some of them are basically fragments. But some of them do have most of the New Testament. So the question is, what do you do when one manuscript reads a certain way in a verse or in a section, and another manuscript reads another way? How do you decide which one is the original reading? Because the original reading is critical. Especially if you believe the Bible is the Word of God, we want to go back to the original text. What was the text that left the pen of Matthew or Mark or Luke or John, Paul, Peter, James, John. I mean, what was that text? So that is what you cover in advanced Greek. Beyond that, things like discourse analysis and things like that as well. Now, there's one more book that I really like is J.W. Wenham's The Elements of New Testament Greek. This is the book that I grew up on, okay? And this is my second copy, by the way, and it's done very well. And I love it probably just as much as Dr. Black's book. Dr. Black's book is really, really good. That's why we're using it in this class. Okay, so keep that in mind. Course objectives, again, is to understand the history of the Greek language. So time to time I'm going to stop and talk about, how did the participle evolve in the Greek language, especially in Koine Greek. Time to time I will talk about pronunciation issues. How did the pronunciation of a certain word go from this to that? So we'll cover things like that. Again, you're going to have vocabulary every single week. Remember last time we had vocabulary? And I will have videos posted each week of a vocabulary list. You have to memorize it. And also in class, when I do the Zoom class, we will be going over the vocabulary list there as well. So you can kind of get an idea of how a word sounds and maybe give you some tips on how to memorize them. Also, memorize the key paradigms which will be covered in Greek 2. So perfect, active, indicative, pluperfect, active, indicative, singular, plural, first person, second person, third person. So you have to memorize them. By the way, again, word to the wise. Go back and review what we have covered in the past 9 chapters. Go back and watch those videos. Look at those paradigms. Remember, for the noun, first declension, second declension. We actually begin with the second declension, first declension. We even did some third declensions. Remember, we talked about the nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, dative, singular, plural. Look at them. Get back in the zone. For the verbs, active, present active, indicative, singular, plural, first, second, third. Go back and look at them again. Okay? Also, part of your course objective, translate course-appropriate sections of the New Testament as reviewed in class. Become familiar with key Greek exegetical resources. That's why we spend so much time talking about resources. And during the class, as you know, I will talk about some of those too. And by the way, last year I was impressed with our class because many of y'all suggested resources for your fellow students. That's great. Help each other out, especially in our forums, discussion forums. If you have come across a resource that's going to help someone memorize the paradigms, drop it in there. If it's going to help them memorize vocabulary, if you come across a program or hey, let us know. And if there's an issue, I will definitely jump in and tell you, hey, that's not as good or whatever. I can definitely help you there. Each week, or each student will take weekly quizzes and final exam as specified in the syllabus. So, just like we did last semester, it's going to go on again this year. Each student will take the quizzes and the exam offline, then scan and upload them to be graded. I think the way we did it was you were able to do it right online. And we set it up that way, so it should not be a problem. These will be closed book, and I have a high level of trust, so I trust you guys, okay? So don't cheat. Use the honor code. In the last semester, I was not as strict on having you write that I have taken this quiz or exam without consulting any resource, I want you to write it this time. And the only reason I didn't emphasize this too much is because there's so much going on, and even I had to readjust and adjust and throughout the course to make sure we get done in time. So that just was not a priority. But this time, in every time you take a quiz, we'll have a section there, and maybe you can put your initials. We'll do it that way. Very easy. If you feel that you have compromised the code, that happens, and your conscience is troubled, please contact the merciful professor, which is me. And that's so much better to do it the right way than to go through life. And whatever you do, whether it's ministry or something else, it'll always be there that you cheated. So don't do that. Come talk to me and I will maybe give you another quiz or something like that. And it's so much better to do that way. Each student will participate in a weekly discussion forum between the students. Because this is an online course, because you can take this asynchronously, it is a requirement that you participate in the weekly discussion forums. And I know it's hard when it comes to language, especially a language like Koine Greek. It is what it is. Still, I'm going to try my best to make those discussion forums interesting for you. But jump in, say something, interact with each other. And I think you guys did that. But that's a requirement to make sure that our class is covering all those aspects that are necessary for a wholesome, full education. Each student is required to complete each assignment and upload them on time each week. And I know there are some students who are given extra time because of needs. So I understand that, and I'll work with you. But make sure for those who don't qualify for that, make sure you get your stuff in time. I am there to work with you. I know you have jobs. I know it's a crazy year, and we're still kind of facing shutdowns and kids at home and things of that nature and sickness or whatever. So just know I'll work with you, but make sure you give this a priority, okay? Each student will be responsible for the teaching content. This will come from the textbook, lectures, and handouts provided by the professor. Also, the videos that I'm putting online for you. So each week, I'm going to film the videos and upload them. And then you have to watch them before you attend class or before you watch the Zoom recording. Trust me when I say it's going to help you. Because if you jump into Zoom recording, sometimes it's hard. Because we really take the time to film these lessons. And it's very methodical and structurally sound, and we cover every caveat or every exception to the rule. So make sure you watch those videos that I film here in this setting before you join me in class on Zoom or you watch the Zoom recording on your own time. Okay, so just want to make sure you get that. Each student must pass the final exam, which will cover the entire 7 weeks in order to receive a passing grade. Understandable. And course schedule. Again, like last time, I am not putting the course schedule here for a reason. I can, but the reason I'm doing that is because I'm gauging how the students are learning. This is new for all of us. A 7-week for Biblical Greek is new. So instead of just putting things down, that week 2 we're going to be here, week 3 we'll be here, week 4, I'm gauging how students are responding to the lessons, how well they're doing, and based on that, I'm pacing myself. So the course schedule will be pretty much TBA, to be announced for that reason. So I hope you understand that. Category weights, same as the last time for the quizzes, assignments, discussion forum, final exam. Quizzes, 30%. Assignments, 30%. Which, this is great, by the way. I wish I had this kind of a breakdown when I was going through my master's or my bachelor's for languages. Discussion forums is 10%. I mean, just by commenting and interacting with your fellow students, 10% is guaranteed. So please don't miss it. And then, of course, final exam is 30%, so don't skip on that. Let's see. Course assessment, we covered that last time. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Grading scale is there. Professor-student interaction by phone, by email. Within 24 hours, I'm going to try to respond back to you. Try to grade the assignments within 3 days or so of regular assignments, 7 days for larger assignments. Sometimes it may get a little bit longer. Just know that there are some of your students, fellow students who have jobs, who have health issues, family, schools are shut down, so they have to do things. So it may get a little bit longer. So I'm trying to make sure when I grade that I'm looking at least 95% of the class. That way, if there is a problem, I can give everybody the curve rather than grade few people and give them a bad grade and then realize, oh, well, that we didn't cover that category or whatever. So I try to wait till the whole class has taken the quiz or the assignment, typically. Let's say email is a good way to reach me, and I try to respond quickly. If you fail to do well in a quiz or assignment, don't lose heart. I will try to reach out to you, but please feel free to reach out to me. Okay? So don't. And I think most of you who've had me last semester, you told me how much you appreciated the way I interacted with you guys and helped you. But for the benefit of those taking it for the first time, I'm willing to work with you as long as you prove that you have a desire to learn Greek. If you have a desire, I'll bend over backwards to help you, okay? Also, a major way that I can help you, this is under course-specific policies. A major way that I can help you is by holding you accountable. Sometimes, being tough is not necessarily like, I'm not going to budge. No, it's to make sure that give this priority. If you don't, and this is the last thing you're going to touch, then you're not going to memorize the vocabularies. I'll work with you, and then I'm actually doing you disservice, okay? So I'm going to hold you accountable. Although I'm very easy to work with, I'm going to hold you accountable. It's for your benefit. So please don't get lax in turning things in. Attendance policy. Again, this class is available asynchronously, but I really, 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 really want to challenge you, join the class. You will learn so much more. So much more. When I'm there, you're asking questions, I'm answering questions, we're working out examples together. The students who did that, I can assure you, they got a lot out of the class by taking it, by joining in on Tuesday evenings. And I do understand many of you can't, so that's why the class is available. But if at all you can, please join in. Failure to check in will result in administrative withdrawal from the course. So you got to watch the Zoom videos, okay? So we covered that. Academic integrity and misconduct, I don't think I want to go over that again, other than be honest, do the work on time, and also make sure that you don't plagiarize. Very, very, very important to do that. And of course, accommodations for students with disabilities. I'm very partial towards helping students who have a desire to learn, and yet they have certain needs. I'll always go above and beyond to help you. So just know that. Having said that, welcome to Greek 2. I'm really excited that you've joined the class again. It'll be a fun time, and in 7 weeks, it'll be over, okay? So this class is going to move rapidly. In 7 weeks, it'll be over. But hopefully, by that time, you'll be opening up your Greek New Testament and be able to read and understand what is happening. Maybe not everything, maybe not Paul's letter to the Colossians, but you will understand good portions of the Greek New Testament. And it's very important. It is the Word of God. And we need to read it in the original language. Thank you again, and be looking out for more videos coming up for the class.